Welcome back to week 3 of Workout Wednesdays. Let's begin the warm-up. So today's warm-up is going to begin with 10 nice big backwards arm circles. Once you've done 10 backwards arm circles, we're then going to perform 10 forwards arm circles. So you should have completed about 10 now. Change direction and perform 10 nice big forwards arm circles. Once we've completed these forwards arm circles, we're going to try something new, and we're going to try performing arm circles with one arm going forwards, the other arm going backwards, like you can see me performing here. Give it a go. If you can't manage it, if your coordination isn't quite good enough, then stick with more backwards arm circles. And now try and change direction, so the other arm is going forwards and the other arm is going backwards for another 10 times around. Once we've completed 10 of these alternating ones each way, hold your hands out to the side and then do very small circles 10 times backwards. Once we have completed these backwards arm circles, we're then going to do 10 up and down arm waggles, as you can see here. And after 10 of these, we're going to move into 10 very small circles going forwards. So you should be on the small forwards arm circles now. And having completed 10 small forwards arm circles, go back to the up and down, small up and down waggles again for another 10 repeats. Following these, we're going to move on to hip circles. So hands on hips, nice big hip circles, 10 one way. After completing 10 hip circles one way, we're then going to change direction and perform another 10 in the other direction. All of this so far should be nice and easy for you at this stage. We're just warming up the body, performing a gentle warm-up before the more intense work that is going to follow. Don't forget, this is the 3rd week of Workout Wednesdays, so if you've not already performed weeks 1 and 2, I would stop this video now and go back to those videos first, because each week is a slightly more difficult progression. But back to the warm-up. We've completed the hip circles. Now we're going to go on all fours, so our hands on our feet, and we're going to do shoulder taps. So take one hand off and touch the alternate shoulder, and we're going to do 10 taps to each side, or if you prefer 20 taps in total. A nice wide base of support with the feet helps with this exercise, so if you are struggling, just spread the feet a little bit wider, and that will give you a bit more stability to help you perform the exercise. Try not to let the hips go too high with this exercise, and try not to let them go down too low. On completion of the shoulder taps, we're now going to perform 10 lots of knees to elbows on each side. So again, 10 to each side, or 20 in total. Same principle applies. We don't want the hips to be too high or too low. We're really looking for a straight line from the shoulders down to the ankles. Remember, you should be performing this workout in real time as the video is playing, but if you do need to pause the video at any point and rewind and go back just to double check on technique, that's fine as well. So having completed the shoulder taps and the knees to toes, we're now going to perform some leg swings. So place your hand against a wall or a sturdy object, and with your outside leg, perform 10 swings backwards and forwards. On the completion of 10 swings, change direction, so face the opposite direction, and again with your outside leg you're going to perform another 10 leg swings backwards and forwards. So you can see now I've changed direction, and because I'm facing the opposite direction, I'm still using the outside leg for these leg swings. Now we've completed 10 leg swings on each side, we're going to go down onto the floor and perform 15 hip lifts or glute bridges. So both feet on the ground, nice and easy. Try and get your hips nice and high. Pause at the top for half a second to a second and really squeeze the glutes. So squeeze those bum cheek muscles during that pause at the top on each rep. You should be feeling like you're driving through the heels. To help with this, you can even lift the toes off the ground slightly if you want, in order to feel the exercise more in the glutes. So 15 of these hip lifts to complete the warm-up part of this session. So that's the warm-up complete. Now on to the main part of the session. And now the first exercise we're going to do in the main part of the session requires us to go on all fours, our hands and feet, and we're performing the plank press. So we will drop down onto our forearms, then back up onto our hands. Remember to lead with your left hand for 10 repetitions here, so 10 times down and 10 times up. Try and keep your hips level as always, no piking at the hips, no letting the hips sag down. Also remember, you can perform this exercise from the knees as an easier alternative if you wish. Once you've completed 10 repetitions, you then will perform 15 repetitions of reverse lunges. So this involves taking a big step backwards, try and keep your balance, and then back to the starting position. So a nice big step backwards, back to the start. Perform all the repetitions on one leg before swapping legs. So we're going for 15 repetitions before changing sides. You can perform a little arm action, as you can see me doing in the video here, but the main thing is to keep the body nice and upright and try and bring that back knee almost down to the ground on the rear side. Once you've performed 15 repetitions, you're going to change legs and perform another 15 repetitions on the other side. So nice tall body, try and maintain your balance, big step backwards, and then drive up to the start again. On that front leg, try and drive your heel into the ground. So that's a recurring theme with a lot of these lower body exercises. You want to drive through your heel. You shouldn't have too much weight on the front part of your foot. So nice tall posture, keep your head up, step backwards and return to the start. Once you've completed 15 repetitions of these reverse lunges, we're going to go back down onto the floor afterwards, and we're going to be performing another 10 repetitions of the plank press again. So you should have completed your reverse lunges, so back onto the floor, plank press, either from your feet or your knees. This time lead with your right arm, so your right arm should be going down and up before your left arm on this occasion for another 10 repetitions. Keep your hips nice and level, not too high, not too low. And once we've performed 10 repetitions of these plank presses, we're going to jump back onto our feet, and we will be performing another 15 repetitions on each side of reverse lunges. So again, nice tall posture, try and keep upright in the upper body, take a big step backwards, and then drive to the return to the start position again. All 15 repetitions on one side before changing sides and performing another 15 repetitions on the other leg. If you've performed week 1 and week 2 and now you're with us on week 3, big congratulations for getting this far. You should be noticing a slight increase in the difficulty of each workout, but it should be a manageable increase. Each workout is just a slight progression on the previous workout. So stick with us, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, because we're going to perform a progression on these workouts every single week. You should have performed 15 repetitions on one side now, so swap legs and perform 15 reverse lunges on the other side. Drive through that heel on the front leg, big step backwards so the back knee almost touches the ground, and stay nice and tall in the upper body. That's reverse lunges, 15 repetitions on each side. And of course, don't forget, if you have any questions on anything in this video or anything related to training, just drop us a comment in the comment section and we'll be sure to respond to your questions. But now that we've completed the reverse lunges, we're back on the floor for another set of plank presses. 10 repetitions. This time we're back to leading with the left arm. So your left arm's going down first and your left arm's coming back up again first. 10 repetitions of plank press. Nice level hips. If you need to perform it from your knees as an easier version, that's perfectly fine as well. Okay, so 10 repetitions of plank press complete, and now we're back to one final set of reverse lunges. Once again, 15 repetitions on each side. So we're getting a fair amount of volume of lower body work in this week's session. We're really progressing the lower body element of the session, and next week's workout is likely to feature an increased element of upper body work. But you should certainly be feeling a more intense lower body session by the end of today's workout. Remember, repeat this workout 2 or 3 times during the week. So have a day or 2 off, then go back to this video, replay the video and do the workout again with me, so that you've done the workout at least 3 times before next week's edition of Workout Wednesdays. So you should have changed sides by now. You should have performed 15 reverse lunges on the first side, and now we're on to 15 reverse lunges on the second side. Great job on making it this far through the workout as well. Stick with us. You're doing real well. And also, if you have any friends or you know of anyone who's looking to make a start in their own strength training journey, share this video with them as well, so that they can work through the Workout Wednesday progressions and make the best start to their strength training program. Reverse lunges complete. One final set of push plank. This time, once again, leading with your right arm. So your right arm wants to go down first and come back up first. Nice level hips as always. Once you've completed your 10 repetitions of push planks, stay on the ground, because the next exercise will also be a floor-based exercise, but this time we'll be facing upwards and we're going to be performing some single leg glute bridges or single leg hip lifts. So lie down on the ground, knees bent. Bring one knee towards the chest and then lift the hips nice and high. Try and lift your hips as high as you can for 15 repetitions of these single leg glute bridges. Again, try and pause briefly at the top and really squeeze the glute muscles, the bum cheek muscles during that pause at the top. Once we've performed 15 repetitions of these glute bridges, we're going to swap legs and perform another 15 repetitions on the other side. Okay, so you should have performed 15 repetitions on the first side now, and you should have changed sides for another 15 repetitions on the second side. Remember, drive the heels through the ground on the working leg. If you need to, you can even try and lift the toes off the ground so that the weight is really being pushed through the heels. Pause at the top of each movement for a brief half second to a second and squeeze the glutes during that pause at the top. Another 15 repetitions, and then once you've performed 15 on the second side, we're going to go back to the first side. So we're going to perform 2 lots of 15 repetitions on each side. So I'm now back to the original side for my second lot of 15 repetitions on the first leg. Nice high hips, squeeze the glutes at the top. Once I've performed my second lot of 15 repetitions on this side, I'm going to change legs one more time for my final lot of 15 repetitions. So you should be on your second side once again for your final lot of 15 repetitions now. So just a quick heads up that once we've completed these single leg glute bridges, the next exercise that we will be performing will be a front plank. So it's still going to be another ground based exercise. You don't need to get up off the floor. We're going to hold a front plank now. 1 minute front plank. So here I'm performing the standard version of the front plank for a 1 minute hold. Last week on Workout Wednesday I went through the various different options that you could do for the front plank in order to make it easier. There was a straight arm version, there was a front plank from the knees version as well. So you can refer back to last week's video in order to remind yourself of those slightly easier options. But whichever option you're going for, we're looking to hold this static position for a minute. Nice level hips. Hips don't want to be too high or too low, just in line with the rest of the body. It's really working the abdominal musculature primarily in this exercise. So it's a great core exercise.
5. Okay.
And that's the end of the minute. And now we're going to be performing a clam exercise. This exercise involves a slight bend at the hips so that the knees are slightly in front of the rest of the body. The feet stay together, and then we lift the hips and spread the knees apart as the hips are being lifted, and then the knees come back together as we lower the hips. We're going to perform 15 repetitions before swapping sides. So let the knees come apart as you're lifting the hips and bring the knees together as you lower the hips back down to the ground, but make sure the feet stay together for the whole time. So as with the glute bridges that we performed earlier in the workout, we're going to be performing 2 lots of 15 repetitions on each side. So we'll move to the second side now for 15 repetitions, but once these are complete, we're then going to go back to the original side for another 15 repetitions, and then finally back to this side again. So 2 lots of 15 repetitions on each side for these clams. Remember, feet stay together, but the knees move apart as we lift the hips, and the knees come back together as we lower the hips. It's a real great exercise for the glute medius, one of the slightly smaller muscle groups within that gluteal complex. So it really helps strengthen the whole hip complex by performing this exercise, as well as the glute bridges that we performed earlier. So back to the original side now. We're back on the first side for another 15 repetitions, and then once we've performed these, we'll go back to the second side for one final time. So we're now on to our final lot of 15 repetitions. As always with these workouts, no equipment is needed. The whole idea of this series is that you can progress and make a start to your strength training journey without needing to be a member of a gym or buy any specialist equipment. It's real basic but effective training that's going to progress at a suitable level. So we're back onto front planks again for a 1 minute hold. Remember, there are other options for this. You can perform it on your hands with your arms straight, which would be an easier version, or you can perform it from your knees rather than having your feet in contact with the ground. So there are 2 easier alternatives if the basic version, this standard version of the front plank, is a little bit too demanding for you at this point.
30 seconds.
And do remember, those easier alternative plank versions were covered in last week's Workout Wednesday video. So do refer back to last week's video if you need to. You can find the links to the previous 2 Workout Wednesdays videos in the description below this video.
5 seconds left. Done.
You now need to find a wall to sit against for a wall sit exercise.
1 minute wall sit.
We have performed this exercise in the previous 2 Workout Wednesdays videos, but as a reminder, we're just holding this position with a roughly 90-degree bend at the hips and a 90-degree bend at the knees so that the thighs are parallel to the ground. In actual fact, looking at this video here, my thighs could be very slightly lower because we do want to have a thighs parallel to the ground position, and then you're just going to hold this position for the minute duration. You should start to feel it burning in the thighs a little bit. It's a good exercise for strengthening the quadriceps. So most of the work we've done for the legs so far has been glute focused, so it's good to have this exercise at the end of the workout to work the quadriceps as well.
Five seconds. Done.
So we've completed the wall sit. We're going to take to the floor again now for a side plank exercise.
"30 seconds, side plank."
So we're looking to just hold this position, resting on your forearm for a 30-second hold. Lift the other arm up in the air, ideally, and then a straight line with your torso from your shoulders down to your ankles. Try not to pike up with the hips too much or let them drop down too much.
Five seconds. Okay.
Great job of making it this far. We've almost completed week 3 of Workout Wednesdays now. Just to finish the workout off, we've got one final 30-second hold for the side plank on the other side, and that will mark the end of this week's session. Remember, once you've completed the workout, have a rest for a day or 2, then come back to this video, repeat the video again, go through the workout again, and maybe repeat it 2 more times during the week, and then tune in next Wednesday for the 4th edition of Workout Wednesdays. Subscribe to the channel in order to get an update of when the next video is released.
Okay.
Great job. That's week 3 of Workout Wednesdays complete. Hope you enjoyed it. Hope you're progressing. Hope you're feeling stronger each week with the progressions in the sessions. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button, and I'll see you next week for Workout Wednesdays.